Well, I trimmed out the cowl here. I knew I was going to need to, or that lower valance. So now I need to figure out where to trim the grill. I kind of hate to cut it up, but this one's cracked in a few places, so it's not a total loss. Matter of fact, there's a crack over here about where I need to cut, looks like. But I'm going to cut out enough to clear this control box, which might be just below that emblem. And I'll cut it clear over here so I can reach this. I'll just cut it off right there, it looks like. Using my chair for a support. I don't have anything that rolls around that will fit that. Well, I tried to make that as clean as possible here, just because it's a low buck build and an old rusted out pickup. Doesn't mean it can't look good. Well, let's just see if that was enough. That's close. Oh, I think that'll work fine. Yep. It's close. Got lots of room here. I did have to trim, I'll show you. I did trim this off here because this actually comes down and bulges out. It actually came down and bulged out quite a bit. So by cutting that off, gave me that much clearance, a lot of clearance. So I just welded in a couple straps in behind that, make that rigid, which gave me room for that winch. All right, let's throw this back up here. Holes line up here. There. I just got to run my wires up behind the grill, up to the battery. There. But I was talking about, it's like touching right here, but I got all this room here. I really didn't want to make it look ugly, but I had to have room to run that control. And I needed room for that box. Otherwise, I could have moved that box, mounted it in behind there. Probably would have been a good thing to do. Oh, and I also needed to have access to the remote plug. But I want to have access to that in case something goes haywire in there, easy to get to. Box loose. Anyhow, I'll get that bolted on, get the fair lead put on, and I don't know, I need to figure out where to, probably going to put some light tabs on here, mount some lights, and I need to get some hooks on the front here of some sort. Thought about cutting this out here and welding in some tabs to mount some clevises, or those tie-down D-rings, welding those on the front. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Well, I need to build a rear bumper for this pickup. When I was doing the bed bobbing, I lopped off about a foot of frame, stuck out here that far or so. That if I would have had a little forethought, I could have left some of that out. Now I need to attach somehow. I'm either going to weld it on or put some tabs on here to bolt these back on. It would be nice to have it removable when I'm all done. But these brackets will mount on here in such a way. I have one for each side that will go on here. And I have them tapered so that my bumpers, so that this bumper will obviously have a little bit of taper to it. But they're going to go on here. I did not want this sticking out very much further than the shackles or the back of the springs here. Anything that sticks out beyond that spring is going to mess up my departure angle, which this will be within that. Yeah, it'll be right in there. I didn't want anything sticking out very far or any further if I could. So I'm going to get these mounted and then start figuring out how to bend my tubing. Okay, so what I did was I took this pipe and I put 2 bends in it. I don't know what the angle is. It was 7 pumps on that jack. So anyhow, I just got a little bit of angles just to set back. I got it where it's clear in the back of the bed, pretty close to it, maybe 1/4 inch from the box. And so I'm going to set this up here, kind of get it level, and tack it up here. Get some good tacks on it. And then I'm going to take another pipe, and it's going to set in this notch, this lower notch, and come out and bend up and meet up with that out here somewhere. Whatever works out the best. But anyhow, I'm going to get this tacked on and go from there. So something I like to do, I like to find out or draw some lines on here. I'll run that line all the way down, make sure they're the same. Okay. That way when I bend them, they're clocked. They're not going to be bent this direction and bent the opposite direction. This side will be up for both of those bends. I know it's just kind of an eyeball. Drawback to these benders, you may have seen it before, maybe not. The rollers that it rests on can actually put a little divot in your pipes every bend. And then if you try to do a really tight bend and you move it several times, then you get little grip looking marks in there. That's a little better. Yeah. So I can tack that on there and proceed to welding. Oh, I got my tacker all the way over here. There we go. There we go. That it's not a good welding helmet. Oh. This is pretty simple. Anyhow, I'll just weld all that up. What I'm thinking here is I got a couple of these D-ring tie-down anchors. I'm kind of thinking about welding those on here, on that tab I just put on. Something like that. Something like that. I think I'll grab another one and we'll tack it on there. The only bummer about using these is, boy, they're going to rattle. Might be able to bungee cord them down, I guess, or something. I centered that pretty close. Yeah. Be a little clankety rattly. I think those will be strong enough there, as long as that tubing doesn't rip out. Because I got that backing plate welded to the tubing, and then this welded to the tubing. Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to do that. That's good enough for now. I've got basics on it. I got a little bit more welding. I'll get the box off and I'll get in behind and do some welding and throw some paint on it, and should be good. It's good. Okay, so the bumpers are done for the most part. I'll throw some light tabs on there when I go to put lights on and deal with that at that point. But I built that bumper to have a really good approach angle. I like that. That's what I was hoping to get. And this bumper is really nothing fancy. Mainly it was just something to hold the winch and maybe protect the front cowling there a little bit, stuff like that. Nothing super fancy. And then back around here to the back bumpers, just another simple bumper. I put the D-rings on it, and the red things are just bungee cords to keep those D-rings from slapping and making all kinds of racket, because they will make racket. And then I put this piece up here so I can, as a step, so I don't fall in there and break my ankle. But I tried to get a decent approach angle with that as well. It's not as good as the front, but with that shackle hanging down, it had to at least come out to cover that far. So anyhow, that's kind of where we're at with the bumpers. I still got a bunch of work to do to this. There, that's about as much as I'm going to do to the bumpers. Got a little bit more work to do to the pickup, obviously, but that's where we're at. Well, other than a few brackets for lights, I'm pretty much done with this bumper, or front and the rear bumper. So appreciate you watching. Thanks, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye.